Hello, my amazing friends. Welcome back to the channel, your go-to place for learning English in smart, simple, and powerful ways. If you're new here, today's video is dedicated to every English learner who doesn't have a tutor, a teacher, or access to expensive classes. Let me ask you honestly. Have you ever felt stuck in your English journey simply because you don't have someone to practice with? Maybe you've been studying for months, even years, but the moment you need to speak, your mind suddenly goes blank. Trust me, I've been there. I know how frustrating it feels. That's exactly why I'm sharing the real strategies I personally use to improve my English speaking, completely on my own. These techniques are simple, powerful, and proven. And the best part? You can start using them today, right from where you are. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Let's dive in. Part 1. Mindset. First, stop waiting for perfect conditions. Before I made any real progress with my English, I had to change my mindset. I used to think I needed the perfect setup, a native-speaking tutor, a language exchange partner, maybe even living in an English-speaking country. I kept telling myself, I'll get better when I find the right person to practice with. But the truth? That belief kept me stuck. One day, I decided to stop waiting, said to myself, fluent speakers don't wait, they speak every day. From that point on, I stopped being a passive learner and started becoming an active one. I became my own teacher, my own coach, and my own biggest motivator. The shift was simple but powerful. I created an English world around me, even if I was the only one speaking. That was the moment everything changed. Part 2. I created my own speaking routine. Since I didn't have a tutor to push me, I needed to create discipline and structure myself. So, I developed a daily speaking routine that forced me to use English every day. The first part was mirror talk. Just 3 to 5 minutes every morning where I stood in front of the mirror and spoke out loud. It didn't matter what I said. I talked about my plans, how I was feeling, or what I had dreamed the night before. For example, one morning I said, "Today I feel excited because I'm learning something new." I made grammar mistakes, of course, but I kept going. Over time, I noticed that I was pausing less and speaking more freely. The second part of my routine was recording my voice. I picked simple topics like my favorite food or what I did yesterday and spoke for 2 minutes. Then I played it back and analyzed it like a coach. I asked myself, was I clear? Did I repeat myself? Was I confident? This self-reflection helped me spot patterns, and more importantly, helped me fix them. Part 3. I turned. Listening into speaking power. Listening is powerful, but only if you turn it into action. I realized early on that passive listening, like playing a podcast while doing the dishes, wasn't enough. So I used the shadowing technique, where I would play a sentence from a native speaker, pause it, and repeat it out loud exactly the same. Same tone, same emotion, same speed. I used short clips from TED Talks, podcasts like The English We Speak, and scenes from movies. One of my favorites was a motivational talk from Will Smith. I listened to one sentence, paused, and mimicked him word for word. It felt like acting, and that made it fun. I also practiced dialogue repetition. I'd watch a short clip from Friends and repeat the characters' lines with the same rhythm and energy. This helped me understand how real conversations flow, with tone, pace, and attitude. It wasn't just about understanding English. It was about sounding like a speaker. Part 4. I used everyday tools like a tutor. I didn't have a teacher, but I did have technology, and I used it smartly. I started using ChatGPT to practice English conversations. I'd ask it to simulate an interview or act like a tourist I was helping in my country. I typed my responses, got corrections, and even asked for alternative ways to say something. One time, I practiced ordering food in a restaurant. "I'd like the grilled chicken, please." Then ChatGPT helped me refine it and add polite options like, "Could I please get the grilled chicken with a side of vegetables?" That kind of instant, no-pressure feedback was better than any classroom. I also used Grammarly to check my writing. After journaling in English, I pasted it into Grammarly to see where I went wrong. But I didn't stop there. I read the corrected version out loud. That helped me train my brain to use the correct forms naturally, even in speech. Part 5. I built a mistake journal. Mistakes are gold, if you pay attention to them. That's why I created a mistake journal. Every time I made an error, whether while speaking, writing, or chatting with AI, I wrote it down. I had 2 columns, one for the mistake and one for the corrected version. For example, I once said, "He don't like spicy food." I caught it later and wrote the correct sentence. "He doesn't like spicy food." Then I practiced that sentence 5 times out loud. The more I did this, the more I stopped making the same mistakes. This notebook became my personal grammar coach. Whenever I had 10 free minutes, I opened it and reviewed past corrections, and more importantly, I spoke them out loud. This habit made grammar automatic, not something I had to think about every time I spoke. Real story, from stuck to confident. Let me share a real story that proves all of this works. About 2 years ago, I had a chance to interview for a remote job that required fluent English. I didn't have a tutor. I hadn't spoken to a native speaker in months, but I had practiced every day. I created a 3-week plan. I picked 5 common interview questions like, "Tell me about yourself," and "Why should we hire you?" Every day, I practiced them in the mirror. I shadowed TED Talks to improve my speaking rhythm and intonation. I recorded myself answering and corrected my mistakes. By the 3rd week, I didn't just know what to say, I could say it smoothly. When the day came, I felt nervous but ready. I walked into that interview, spoke clearly, confidently, and connected with the interviewer. And yes, I got the job. Not because I spoke perfect English, but because I practiced smart, stayed consistent, and didn't let fear stop me. If I could do it alone, so can you. Final thoughts. You are your best teacher. So let me say this directly to you. You can do this. You don't need a classroom. You don't need a tutor. What you need is daily practice, a smart system, and the courage to speak, even if no one is watching. Create your own environment. Use your phone. Use your mirror. Use your voice. Make English a habit, not a homework. Let's grow together. If this video inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a powerful English tip again. And tell me in the comments, which technique will you start using today? I reply to every comment because I want to help you speak English confidently, no matter where you're learning from. Thanks for watching, and remember, you don't need perfect English. You need real practice. Speak today, speak tomorrow, and one day you'll speak fluently without fear. See you in the next one. Keep going. You've got this. Hi, hi.